So I'm joined today by Paul Michaels, who's the chairman here at Hexagon Classics. Thanks for joining me, Paul.
Pleasure.
And we've also got Aston, the deputy chairman, who will be taking part in the interview as well. So, hello, Aston. No, not keen.
No.
Good stuff. So you've been going since 1963 as a business.
63
Paul?
September.
September.
Yep.
Could you tell me a bit more about the history of the company?
Well, starting at the very beginning,
Yeah.
when I was born, my first word was car. So I kind of knew where I was heading.
It was meant to be.
And I went to engineering college, all that kind of shenanigans, and I realized pretty quickly that I wasn't an engineer.
Yeah.
Better I stuck to doing what I wanted to do, which was sell cars. So then it all started. I got a garage in Daleham Mews in Hampstead, and number 7, and eventually ended up with 4 Mews garages in Hampstead.
What was the first car you sold?
God, it was a white E-type fixed head.
Wow.
1962, I think it was.
Okay, so that would have been not a V12.
No, 6-cylinder fixed head.
Yeah.
I can remember the day that E-types were launched, and I thought, wow.
And that would have been the Geneva Motor Show
In 61.
61. Okay.
So
And
anyway,
they actually drove it there.
no, this was our car, and we had it up.
Oh, but
for sale.
I mean, for the Geneva Motor Show, I believe they drove it from the UK.
Yeah, to there.
To Geneva. Yeah.
But I can't remember whether that was the white fixed head or if that was I think that was a British Racing Green
Okay. Well.
Roadster.
Yeah.
Which would have been an outside bonnet lock car very early, which ironically we're restoring one at the moment.
Oh, right. Okay.
But anyway, so after I had 4, we'd been there about thick end of 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Somebody told me there was a garage in Highgate where the owners were going skint,
Okay.
and I could probably buy it. So off I went, bought that. That was in North Hill in Highgate,
Right.
and we stayed there till early 90s, mid-90s, and then somebody mentioned that this was coming up for sale wherever we now are. So I went and negotiated a deal for this, and the rest, as they say, is history. We're still here.
Yeah, it's a tremendous site, and obviously it's changed massively over the years in terms of what you've got next door with the engine rooms.
Yeah,
All
it's
and
evolved
Yeah.
for lots of reasons. We were given no option but to stop BMW
Right.
because they wanted to change the way they sold cars. So in 2014, I gave the people here a 2-year lease while we moved up to Linton.
Right.
And after 2 years, they moved out and we came back.
Okay.
And then we started doing it up. My late wife was an interior designer, so we sort of let rip. Out went BMW and in came us.
And you can see it's fantastic.
Yeah, there's a lot of art, as you can see,
Yeah.
because I've always been very much an art lover. And the place has got a lovely atmosphere.
It really
which
does.
is-
And I feel like, these are the cars that I used to have on my bedroom wall when I was a kid. So,
well, that's the idea.
so I feel like a schoolboy at the moment, it's like
That's
going
where
back in
I
time.
say that's where I started with them.
Yeah.
It was it was a challenge coming back, but
I bet.
we realised that my wife and I, we realised we were going to have to do something. It was too big a site
Right.
just for classic cars, and that's how the idea of the restaurant and the event space came up. Unfortunately, the restaurant was in the middle of COVID, and staff issues were beyond belief. So I stuck it for a year, and after a year I just decided this couldn't go on. But we kept the event space going, and I've got a very good young lady who runs that for me, and that's becoming quite successful.
Yeah.
And
Excellent.
it's a lovely place to have. You can have up to 300 people,
Yeah.
so it gives you plenty of options.
Yeah, absolutely.
From a 30-seat private dining room
Yeah.
through to the real McGoy.
Fantastic.
So that's it.
So a real success story.
Not necessarily success, it's an evolution.
Okay. It's fair. Brilliant. So just in terms of going back to the car side of things, I understand that Hexagon was involved in motorsports competitively. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Again, when I started in selling cars, I had an idea that I wanted to get into Formula One.